Hey everybody, this is Roz the Diva here. So Katie sent me a whole bunch of follow-up questions to our conversation, and I thought it'd be easier to just give it to you in video. So hope you enjoy this and it gives you some more insight into Roz the Diva. So first, I am 30 years old. I have no kids. I'm single. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I am a full-time fitness diva, whatever you want to call me today. Pole dancing, and particularly pole dancing for plus size students. That's my specialty, and that's what I love. But I'm also a NASM certified personal trainer, and I also do group fitness classes. So my job is to make you sweat, to make everybody around me sweat, just to tell them to get their friends come over here and we're gonna sweat and sweat, sweat, and sweat. I'm currently an employee of 4 different gyms, so that tells you something about my hustle right there. Is that it doesn't sleep ever, just like New York, which is why it works so well here. I've been doing pole and fitness as my full-time career for just over a year now, and I'm broke. Of course, I'm still working on getting full-time hours, and it's definitely been a tough journey. It's been a tough challenge, but man, I don't regret a single thing that has ever happened to me. I love working out. I love teaching. I love my students to death. And I'm pretty confident that they would also say the same. So I'm just going to be looking at the questions here that Katie sent to me. So are you single, dating, looking? Mm. So, single, yes. Dating, no. Looking, hell yes. I'd love to find Prince Charming. If I could describe him, he's going to be mid 30s, over 200 pounds, likes working out and going to the gym. He's hopefully as strong, if not stronger than me. And he is going to be cheering me, first one to make it rain when I'm on stage. He's going to massage my poor, tired, aching muscles. He's going to come to all of my shows, and he's going to be just as excited about all this pole stuff that I am too. Then I've got, the other requirements, like, I would prefer someone who went to college or has some kind of education background, somebody who's got their shit together, just period, no kids, no drugs, the usual suspects. All right, next, your family. So my family, my parents, grandmother, sister Lindsay, aunts, uncles, cousins, the whole shebang bang. Everybody is behind me, and I'm so fortunate that I have that. My parents are hardcore soccer parents, meaning they weren't just at our games, Lindsay and I's games. We played soccer and softball forever. So they were the first parents there. My dad was coaching both of our teams. My mom was bringing orange slices for all my teammates, and she's bringing wine for all the other moms in the stands. And they cheered so hard. And whether we were playing locally or when Lindsay and I went to boarding school and our games were now 3 or 4 hours away, it didn't matter. They were still there. They still the first ones out there. My father is a damn fool. He's that parent. You know, that one that's just too loud all the time, who's just really excited. It could be like kindergarten, like football, and he's on the sidelines like he's Joe Montana, and it's bananas. So he's exactly where I get my larger than life personality. My mother, when she's not wrangling my father, she is, she's the mom that kind of subtly shows off, but it's okay because everyone benefits. So I like to call her Black Martha, as in Black Martha Stewart, because she was that mom when we were younger. She handmade all of our dresses for my sister and I. She would bake all the cupcakes. She would color code the cupcakes. She put my friends' names on the cupcakes. She knew what this friend likes nuts in their brownies. This friend wants oatmeal cookies. This friend, it's insane. So there's something there. And then Grammy, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she's awesome because what grandmother really isn't? So Grammy's there with the apple pie. She came to just as many games as my parents did to cheer us on. And even with pole, they're still in the front row cheering me on. It's just a little different these days from soccer, but I'm so lucky that I have their support. And my sister too. My sister's awesome. You sometimes you might not know it because, like all siblings, we spend most of our time trying to tell the other one why we're better than her. And we go back and forth on Facebook. We go back and forth by text message pretty much every day. She lives in LA, so of course she thinks she's cute out there. And I'm like, nah, son, that's not New York. Don't get it twisted. And just all the sibling stuff you can imagine. So my family is loud and colorful. Lord Jesus, are we loud and colorful? All right, next, who is my BFF? Oh gosh, I don't even know at this point if I can narrow down specific BFFs. It would have to be by tribe. So when I say that, I mean, so my sister in the tribe council of my life, those people you have to run major life decisions by so they can co-sign, so you can know you're not crazy. Well, I've got different people that represent different tribes and eras of my life, and they're all BFFs in some ways. So I've got my sister Lindsay, who is the family rep. I've also got one of my good friends, Edwin Nelson. He and I used to work at my old job years ago when I was working in nonprofit, and I'll tell you about that as well. And Edwin is funny because he's the guy who is gonna pretty much be my business manager, despite the fact that neither one of us knows what a business manager really does. But he just wants to make sure he's close enough to me so when I make some real money, he can get his 15%. And it's funny because we joke about that kind of stuff all the time, but that's what he does. And every time I have a question about money or I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, Edwin's like, pump the brakes, you'll be fine, come on, we're gonna do it this way. So he's great, and there's also, I have my pole family is humongous. I have some instructors and students I've been working with and learning with for 7.5 years at this point. I've got my fellow instructors that work with me at Body and Pole, which is in New York City. Excuse me. And then I've got my instructors in Sacred, which is in Brooklyn, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And in terms of who you might run into or people who I interact with a lot, just as Edwin is my business manager, my friends Nicole and Tanya, otherwise known as Nikita Darling and Lady T, as I like to call her, every time there's a pole related decision, I've got to run it by them first. And they give me the okay, or they tell me, Roz, run away. That looks crazy. There's also a group of friends I call Team Chicken Fried or Fried Chicken Sushi because it's two Asians and two black girls who hang out. And so we decided, let's just keep this real. The best of both worlds is fried chicken for black people and sushi as just generic Asian meal. And so when you put them together, what happens? Fried chicken sushi. The four of us, we go out to dinner. We used to do it after every single pole class. So every Friday, class got out, we go to the gym, take a shower, locker room, whatever, and then glass of wine in hand 15 minutes later, whether it was tacos or pasta or something else. So those three other ladies are amazing. And there are so many other people who have really just made an impact in my life. So I can narrow that down for you further, but I just had to give you a big overview first. And now in terms of the kinds of students that I have mostly female students, although when I'm lucky, I get a dude come in and we all go ape shit because we're like, yes. But most of the women that I work with, their ages about 25 to 45. Sometimes there's some younger than that, sometimes they're older than that, but they come from every walk of life, every race you can imagine. Because I'm black and plus size, I attract a a disproportionately larger amount of either black students and or particularly plus size students. I've had a lot of students tell me, I came from 2 states away, or I specifically looked you up on YouTube and I saw you because you look like me. The other instructors are great and they're doing these wonderful things, but you and all 225 pounds of you, I identify with your body. I look at you, you have boobs. Boobs! I have boobs. So students are really excited when they get to see someone who looks like them, and if they haven't had that experience yet, now they're going to try a little bit harder. Now they can actually believe, okay, maybe this is for me. And I specialize in also teaching beginners and underdogs. So we talked about the underdogs, the plus size, black, whatever, but particularly beginners. So I get people before they can even spell pole. They have no idea what's going on. They don't understand it. They just thought, oh, let me just try this one class. And then, holy shit, they realize how hard it is. And I love it. I pride myself on my patience and that I can relate to different kinds of people. So give me your confused, you're tired, you're weak, you're just hot ass mess students. I will take them and I will nurture them and I will turn them into flowers and they will grow and we'll have a garden of hot messness, and it's great. All right, any big milestones coming up for me this year? Yes, I definitely have them. So one is my signature event each year, Dangerous Curves, it's going to be Dangerous Curves 4, a celebration of plus size pole dancers. So this is my signature t-shirt and my saying, pole like a damn diva. So this is something that I will create, mass produce, and sell to anybody during the Dangerous Curves competition. And just to tell you about what it is this is a plus size pole dancing competition. There are thousands of pole competitions throughout the world at this point. Pole is a global sport. What there aren't a lot of are venues and programs that specifically celebrate and highlight the accomplishments of non-traditional athletes. I consider plus size pole dancers non-traditional in terms of body type, and especially in the dance world where the ideal ballerina, for example, is not really pushing 120 and tall, slender, and blonde. And I am bald, or a little bit bald. I'm far from slender, and I'm about 5'5", so I'm not mad at my height, but I also recognize that I am far from, Tolstoy's perfect, Russian ballerina. But so I wanted to create a show and a place on stage where people don't have to feel like I'm the biggest one again. I'm the only one who looks like me on stage. Everybody else is doing this stuff and I can't do it, and I feel less than. I really do whatever is possible and whatever I can do to take away that feeling of less than. My goal is for my athletes, and we typically have between 8 to 12 people depending on the size of the application pool. My goal is for my athletes to feel confident and to feel comfortable and proud of their accomplishments on stage. And this is held in New York City. I fund it, I produce it, I organize it, the whole shebang-a-bang. It's me. Now, I have a slew of volunteers that help me as well, but in terms of all the back-end stuff and the financing, that's all me. There's no magic rich uncle behind something. There's no magic wand. This is me busting my ass for 364 days a year. So on that 365th day, when it's Dangerous Curves Day, there can be a competition. That's definitely a challenge because for this past year, I jumped into doing fitness full time. And I had money saved up, thank goodness, but not tons. And if anybody has ever lived in New York City, $5 will last you for a half of a second. So it is definitely going to be a struggle. It's going to be tight. It's going to be real tight this year, and I'm going to be calling in favors and no frills, anything. But it's absolutely going to happen, and I can't wait for it. Besides that, I have some touring coming up. So besides teaching at my home gyms in New York City, occasionally I'll hit the road a couple times a year, and I will go to other people's pole studios and act as a guest instructor for an evening. And I've so far in my pole career, I've been to Massachusetts, New Jersey, Virginia, Maryland, Idaho, California, Texas, and Georgia. Hope I got everything. Yeah, probably. And all of the different studios, different cities in those places have all invited me to come and say, teach us your ways, Roz. What do you do? So I have my signature workshops that I do. For example, I'll spend 90 minutes and we'll talk about my Divas in Training workshop is all about performance. So this isn't necessarily about learning the hardest or the latest trick, but it's making sure that you don't look like a block of paint on stage and that you actually have personality and that you own that stage and that you're excited about what you're doing and you're not just going out there and being a pole robot, because I've seen a lot of that and I'm pretty over it. I also have another workshop which is gaining more and more popularity, coaching plus size dancers. This is incredibly important to me because as a plus size dancer, I've been through shit and back. Not even hell. I've been through shit and back. And a lot of the studios that I've encountered, and this is true for the entire fitness world, they, in their hearts, they're doing the right thing and they want to invite everybody in. They're thinking, yes, we love all bodies. Come on in. Doesn't matter what you weigh or anything else. But the truth of the matter is there are some practices that they either don't do or too many practices that they do that are actually really intimidating for non-traditional athletes to come into their space and to take part in that. So my workshop is aimed towards studio owners, community leaders, and definitely instructors about how to make your classes and your studio space plus size friendly. And that's near and dear to my heart. Really it is. Okay, we're getting there. Opening my own gym. Hell motherfucking no. No. People ask me all the time. I have seen about 4 or 5 friends open their own gyms from day one at this point. And I've been a part of it in terms of, helping it get started and teaching classes. And I have seen too much. I've seen too much. I've seen the stress. I've seen the money. I've seen the hours that go into that. Not for me. I am very happy going to someone else's studio who has already paid the rent and put their name on the lease. I'll teach all day or a day and 50 jillion classes a week, but I'll be damned if I then have to take out loans and I've got to figure this out and nope. All right, what are some high stakes moments coming up for you? As I mentioned, doing this next Dangerous Curves, which is going to be on August 9th, 2015, that's going to be a big challenge financially. Even though I've got tons of sponsors and I'm working to build that sponsorship list even bigger, it's going to be difficult. I'm going to have to get real creative. Everybody involved, from people who come and hang out and see the show to the competitors, they're awesome and they're very understanding. So they're going to have to understand just a little bit more than they ever have that this is going to be a simple yet amazing show and showcase. And it always is. So I'm not worried about that, but definitely something to keep in mind this year. In terms of, let me see. Oh, what are the biggest challenges in your life? Hi, haters. Financial, I talked about that. I'm broke. Next. Health and happiness. So I think a very big challenge for me is really fully accepting that it's okay to be different. And there's a number of things that have happened in the last few years which have questioned this, and it's made my strength in myself and in my decisions grow stronger, but I'll be damned if it was hard, if it was easy getting to this point. Long story short, I've been fired from 3 full-time jobs. I got kicked out of a job fair, or not a job fair, I'm sorry, a health fair at a Catholic school. And I have read God knows how many comments on the internet from people telling me what I'm doing, what pole dancing specifically is dirty. They think I'm a slut. They think I'm a fat slut. They think if I'm not a slut, then I want to be a stripper, obviously. And P.S., I love strippers, so calling me a wannabe stripper, that's not, that, I'm like, whatever. They're making legal money, I don't care. And, people thinking, oh, what's going to happen if these certain people find out, or what if your other coworkers find out, or this and that, and I just don't give any fucks anymore. I used to really care, but the fucks just, they slip right through my fingers, boo-boo, just gone. And I remember one of the biggest decisions I've made in my life so far, certainly biggest decision in my career, was years ago, before any of the firings happened. I was working as a career coach in nonprofit, and I specifically worked with young Black and Latino college students to help them do everything from get started with college to stay in college, to then get a job during and after college. And there was this fear from other people that I was working with. What's going to happen if they find out? Like, Roz, what are you going to do when your boss and managers find out about Roz the Diva? And before I started putting anything online, and before I really started publicizing polls as much as I do, I knew I had to decide, and I had to know, all right, when some shit goes down, which way you gonna go? Are you gonna punk out of something that you love and something that's given you so much strength and wonderful and wisdom and all that good stuff? Or are you gonna rock out? Are you gonna rock out? Are you gonna follow your heart? And sure enough, I had to make that decision more than once. But that first time, I was essentially told to, I believe the quote was, be aware of my cyber reputation, and be careful of my cyber reputation. And by that time, because I had already had that conversation with myself that I'm going to roll with pole over anything else or most other things, when it came down to make that decision, I stuck with pole. And like I said, that led to me being fired from a couple jobs, full-time jobs, which I'm good at. And I fortunately haven't lost any friends, but definitely went through some funky things with some friends. And it has been crazy. But I'm still, like I said, I'm still kind of struggling a little bit to think, like, man, I went to private school, I went to business school, I have my undergrad degree from GW, I studied art history. I thought I was going to be in the corporate boardroom taking over Wall Street at this point, and my life went in a totally different direction than I expected. And it's unsettling, because this is not something that I thought was ever going to happen to me, nor did I know I would want it to really happen to me. So the fact that it has now, I'm still like, this is okay, Roz. This is okay. Parents, check. Grammy, check. Like I said, Grammy's the barometer. As long as she still invites me and makes me an apple pie for Christmas, I don't give a shit about anybody else. And even if they did mind, my parents are great in that they would never shun me. Would they be a little disappointed? Maybe, but if that's the worst that happens, I'll take it, So it's been a long road. It's been really interesting, but I will take all of the financial stress. I'll take the I'm not sure stress. I'll take the hustle, work 4 different jobs. 2014, I had 10 W-2s and 1099s. 10 of them. I would not trade this for the world. I love it, love it, love it. So, unless there are any other questions that I missed, nah, I think that's good enough. And this is also 25 minutes. So, Katie, thank you so much. If you need another video or anything else, please let me know. Share this with the world. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I'm Roz the Diva everywhere. Stalk me. I love it. Thank you so much. Mwah.